Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Wednesday, June 15th, and welcome to another new episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest today is an up and coming, inspiring model. She's one of the youngest guests that I've ever had, and I'm super excited to have her here. We're going to be talking about all things fashion and beauty with our very special guest, Sydney Webb, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm so excited. My air conditioning is out. Please forgive me. We are having to free wing it today. So we're working with what we got. So please forgive me if you guys hear my fan. Please forgive my fan. I'm super excited for this interview today, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's welcome our beautiful, very special guest, Sydney. Hello, hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It is such a pleasure to have you here.
It's such a pleasure to be on the show.
Welcome to the dollhouse, my love. So let's get right into it. Before we get into this interview, how has 2022 been for you thus far? We've seen some of your photo shoots, beautiful, breathtaking photo shoots, might I add, my darling, and everything. So tell us about it. How's your 2022 been thus far?
My 2022, of course, my dog's barking right now. My 2022 has been great so far. I've loved all the photo shoots that I've done, all the people I've met. I've had some wonderful opportunities recently. And yeah, I think 2022 has been the best for me so far.
Okay, okay. Who's some of your favorite designers that you've worked with, if that come to your mind?
The first up, of course, is Blazion Collection, Deborah Story. I love her. She's been with me since the beginning. We met by fate. It was fate, honestly. We met, and 3 years later, we're still working together. I talk to her all the time. She's a second mom to me, so I hold her very dearly to me.
And it's good to build those bonds and connections in the fashion world, as you can see, because I just did an interview with Kari Young, who's worked on some big fashion companies with Chanel and so many others. What's your dream collaboration? If you could walk any runway show, what would your dream runway show
Oh, my dream runway. Ugh, that's hard. Um, Probably Louis Vuitton.
be? Oh, I could so see that. And I kind of had a feeling that you were going to say that because of the feel. Um, Rest in peace to Virgil Abloh, Off White. We lost so many people in the fashion world. Who are some of your favorite fashion designers? I know, tough choice, my love.
Oh my God. Recently, I was given the opportunity to work with, I'm trying to remember his last name, but his name is David Levy, I think, Levi. And he's been in the fashion industry for 35 years. And he's done designs for um, Christina Aguilera, Princess Di, Kate Middleton, all these people. And I think he's one of my favorites because he just has so many people that he's worked with, and he's so down to earth and amazing. He doesn't take what he has for granted, and I think that makes him one of my favorites.
Okay, okay. It's so many out here. So when you looked up, I said, okay, she kind of can relate too, because we're both fashion girls and we love our fashion. So for you, on a day when you're not on set, what is Sydney's style like? Tell us a little bit about your style and where do you get your influence from? Because I know you pulled from somewhere.
So my style comes from my grandmother. Technically, she's my step grandmother, but I don't bother with any of that business. She's been styling me since I was 2 years old. She's
Oh,
a doing this. She'll find a jacket and she'll style an entire outfit around it, just grabbing different pieces, and it's amazing. So I take a lot of inspiration from her. I take inspiration from hmm, there's so many different places because you got to grab from everywhere. I like a lot of Japanese fashion, the Harajuku styles and the kawaii fashion. There's what else? A lot of American like skater fashion. Um, and I say all this knowing that I dress like a teenage boy when I'm not dressed up.
But you're versatile with it. You are versatile with it. You change it up. And the thing is with fashion, experiment. Know what works for you. Like I go through a lot of Vogue magazines, Harper's Bazaar, and so many, just to name a few, because there's so many fashion companies out here. It's just like, okay, which way do I turn? Because fashion looks are changing. My next question is, are you ready for Fashion Week?
Fashion Week. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what's on the runway this year because everything is so different. Some people take more of a simple approach, some go extremely avant garde, and it's just amazing to see. I'm hoping to be a part of more fashion weeks, but that's a little bit slow right now for me.
I know with everything that's going on, it's gonna come, sweetie. It definitely is. And then it's LA Swim Week. I know that's kind of already kicked off, and so many others. I know around July, Fashion Week in New York will probably start around the fall because you know during this time they normally break out the fall fashions, and then during the fall winter months they bring out the spring summer. So each designer comes out with a collection, and I'm just so excited to see it. Like I know Olivier Rousteing back in 2021 when this thing hit, this pandemic hit, he showcased because we know a lot of models weren't able to go and do the in-person shows and things. He did like it virtually, and it was so creative. Like he had all of these TVs stacked on top of each other. And you could see all of the celebrities. Celebrities wanted to be in attendance of Fashion Week, but he came up with something very creative. And that was to showcase on the TV with all of these celebrities, having the models walk down and it's just the models. It's in an empty building. Have you ever experienced anything like that where you've had to kind of do a show and it's just like, because I know models feed off of the audience, just like singers and dancers feed off the audience.
So I did do one kind of virtual fashion show where we pre-recorded what we did and then it was added into this big like kind of YouTube compilation of each designer. It's definitely different because like you said, off the people like, oh wow, that outfit's amazing. The model, she's just gorgeous, and you're just walking to a camera basically, and there's no one to feed off of. So you kind of have to go within yourself to find that energy and do it all with your energy. Like, okay, this is how I want to walk because there's no one out here to
Yeah.
bring me that energy. So what energy do I want to bring? It with that it kind of becomes up to you, which personally I like because it makes it more.
Authentically. And speaking of supermodels, ladies and gentlemen, we have the one and only Miss Cara Young. Sydney, I want to introduce you to Cara. She is here. This woman has graced so many cosmetic company brands from Maybelline to CoverGirl to Revlon. So I'm all about networking models with models. Cara, Sydney, the legendary Cara Young. And Cara has become a good friend of mine. And I'm honored that I got to sit with this woman. Like I was starstruck meeting her. Have you ever been starstruck and met one of your favorite supermodels?
Oh, not yet, but I'm hoping to soon.
It's coming. It's coming, baby. Just hang in there. And most girls start off young in the industry. Like Kate Moss started off at 14 years old. Christy Turlington started off at 13. And Tyra started off young. Naomi started off young, and so forth and so on. What advice would you give to young girls that are looking to follow in your footsteps and be the next Sydney Webb? because there is a supermodel that has your last name, and she's a good friend with Cara. Her name is Veronica Webb. Very beautiful, and she's walked the runways for Chanel. So, do you kind of have to hold up to that expectation of that last name? And what advice would you give to young girls who are looking to get into modeling?
So, my advice to young girls looking to get into modeling is know who you are and don't let anyone change it. Protect that part of yourself because there are people that will try and change it. And I did almost fall victim to this very early on into my career. This woman, she just basically took a piece of my soul, and it took a very long time to get that back. So you have to protect yourself, know who you are, know your worth, and not let anyone try to change that. So have a good support system, know how to do your own hair and makeup so you don't have to rely on anyone. It doesn't have to be expensive products, just use the cheap stuff. It looks the same. I know this from experience. No, you're not going to make money right away unless it's a right place, right time sort of situation, because that can happen to people. Me, not yet, but I have had my right time, right place with some other stuff, which has helped out. And it's a lot of hard work. Modeling is not easy. I think that's a very common misconception because people think you just stand in front of a camera and look pretty and pose, and it's just simple stuff, but it's not. Sometimes these poses, they're hard. You have to hold them for like 5 minutes straight because the photographer's trying to get their angle right, their lighting, and it hurts trying to do these crazy back bends for like 5 minutes straight, and you straighten up and you're like, oh god, my back. This isn't fun. But you gotta love what you do. And if you don't love modeling, don't do it. Don't waste your energy. Don't waste your time. I personally love modeling. This is what I enjoy doing, so I stuck with it. But if you don't like it, don't love it, just don't do it. It's not for everyone. And I'm not saying that as a being snarky, like, oh, you're just not cut out for it. No. This is soul draining. You will lose yourself in modeling. And I think that's seen a lot with supermodels getting into drugs and alcohol and partying. You have to have a good hold on yourself to not
Yeah.
victim to that, which is very hard for most people, but you just kind of have to stay grounded and block off and be like, okay, this is water off my back, I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you got to do, whatever you got to say to not let that energy stick to you. But yeah, that's my advice.
Quiet Rainstorm says I could barely hold my breath get a longer pole. Listen, even for me, I'm not a a model. I try to make it look like the fashion magazines when I take my photos that you see here on Instagram. And we'll get into Sydney's shoot. She shot a beautiful photo shoot in this red gown. I'm gonna show you, Cara, if you're still here. And she says, good counsel, Sydney. Let's get right into this shoot. So tell us about this, Miss Lady.
Oh, is that the one where I'm in the water?
Yes.
Okay, so that was just this past weekend, and it was actually my idea. So I was in a vintage look at first, and one of the other models at the photo shoot, she had put on a dress that she could take into the water. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. Why didn't you tell me we would be going into the water? And I had that dress with me because we needed a glamour look too. And I was like, I could get in the water in that dress. I know it'll be safe. And so I tell the woman running the photo shoot, she's like, you could? And I'm like, yeah, let me make a quick phone call. And I called Deborah, who I talked about earlier. I was like, hey, can I take this dress into the water? And she's like, go ahead, it's yours. And so we went, ate food, came back to the photo shoot. And they're like, okay, Sydney, you need to stand very still because we're going to throw this water at you. And I'm like, huh? Okay. I thought I was gonna have a bruise on my butt cheek.
And we seen the clip, and you made it look beautiful.
I did it again another day at the photo shoot because it was 3 days long, and I was like, okay. And I told my dad about the situation, and he was like, wait a minute, I was there. You could have told me that you needed someone to throw water at you. How dare you deprive me of my fatherly rights to throw water at my kid? So I did it again on Sunday so that he could throw water at me, and we got some great shots of it.
And it worked beautifully. I see a lot of photographers in here. You are the buzz, Sydney. And you got legendary supermodel Cara Young in here watching you right now. How does it feel? Because not only is Cara going to be watching you, Naomi's going to be watching, Cindy's going to be watching. And these are women that I've looked up to. I don't want to be a supermodel, but I love being in the fashion world, just being able to give my critiques on the most beautiful objects and things. So how does it feel? Like, do you feel that everything is now that you wanted since you was a little girl is now coming full circle?
Yeah, I feel like it's coming full circle, but at the same time, it's like, man, did I bite off more than I can chew? Because you see all these people.
Overwhelming. Hmm.
What about me makes it so that I can be like them? And you start dissecting yourself, and it's crazy, but being in this position where I do have a supermodel watching me, I'm like, man, this is great. Because now I'm on their radar, and who knows? Maybe she'll say something, and my name will get out there even farther. And even if not, she's seen me on
Yes.
screen.
And I know your parents must be so proud of you. Like your mom, your dad is just enjoying it. And I'm proud of you myself, my love. When I asked and reached out to you to do this interview, I said, oh my God, she's so young. She's a baby. I can mentor her, network her with people that are in, the fashion world and industry. And I'm totally, totally here for it. So we're going to talk a little bit about makeup because that's my favorite thing. You talked a little bit about makeup. What is your regimen? Because shout out to Quiet Rainstorm. Quiet Rainstorm says she's very beautiful. So tell us, what is your secret?
Ah, cheap products. They look the same as some of the more expensive products. The
Yes.
Maybelline and all of that. I feel like it's so slept on because all this new, exciting, shiny stuff comes out, and you forget that these products still look the exact same. And then someone will come out and be like, "Oh, look, this cheap product's a dupe for this expensive product," and we're just kind of like, I know, we've been knowing, but you keep going off with the new expensive products. Nothing wrong with the expensive products. I personally have one of the Fenty foundations, but my Maybelline gives me the same look for if I don't want to waste such an expensive product. And a lot of it is, good skincare. Doesn't have to be super, you know, like elaborate with all these serums and syrups and whatever. No, I just wash my face, spray some toner that I think works, and some moisturizer. That's it. Don't do anything too fancy because then your face will kind of rely on it. And then if you drop that skincare regimen, it affects your face and it stops creating the natural oils that you want your face to be making.
Yes.
And, with products, I don't use a lot. I don't just keep piling stuff on. I'll do my liquid stuff and then I'll go over it with some powders. But, and then the most important part to me is just drowning my face in setting spray. If my face isn't wet like 10 minutes after I sprayed it, I didn't put enough on. That's just my thing because I got to withstand the Las Vegas heat and accidentally falling into pools and getting water thrown at me. So it has to be able to stay on decently at least. Because I was surprised. I accidentally dunked myself underwater at that photo shoot. The mascara didn't run. It's just like Wet n Wild eyeliner, nothing. Everything stayed on perfectly, and I was like, huh, must be doing something right. But yeah, it's a misconception that you have to use the most expensive products to have.
Yes.
No, mm-mm. It's not needed. It's not necessary.
I mean, I love Armani, I love Chanel, and I do use those brands as well too, but I also use my Maybelline, my Revlon, my CoverGirl. Like you said, it does the same thing. And I'm the type of person, I like to be frugal when it comes to beauty as well too. So I can relate to you on that, when it comes to eyeshadows and lashes and things like that. And as you guys can see, I do the bare minimum with makeup. We both are doing what's called soft glam today. So, makeup now has been toned down. Less is more, but sometimes I like to throw in a little bit more, and for me, I said for today, I wanted it to just be soft glam. I just wanted to be, elegant, just classy, just simple, just straight to the point, and go for it. Drugstore makeup, there's nothing wrong with doing it. There's nothing wrong. It gives you the same effect as the Chanel's. It gives you the same effect as the Armani's and Clinique and all these other brands that are out here when it comes to makeup. Just those are just a few. And we're now in the summer months, so it's good that you've mentioned that because I was about to say a lot of brands do waterproof makeup. And I know a lot of us girls get out here and we're in the sun and we're like, oh my God, we're melting. Thank God for waterproof mascara. So that's one thing I can vouch for. Sunscreen, if you're going to the beach, if you're doing a lot of photo shoots on the beach or things, make sure that you invest and protect our melanin because that is definitely key. Make sure that you stay on the melanin as well. It's everything. So we got to make sure that we're protecting that also. So those are just a
Exactly.
few beauty tips. So my next question for you is, hair wise, has photog because I'm pretty sure it's coming. Photographers, have they ever asked you to like change your look? Because I know one supermodel that I can think of that consistently changed her look when she was doing it back in the late '90s was Linda Evangelista, and she rocked every hair color from blonde to brunette to the red that I posted a picture of her when she had the red hair back when she was doing the show for Versace. Uh, for you, has photographers ever asked you to like, okay, change it, let's change it for this shoot or change it for this atmosphere?
So photographers do kind of ask me to change looks. So I'll do things like ponytails, long braids, my big hair. But a lot of photographers kind of have me in sort of a box with my big hair when it's all out
Yeah,
and beautiful, my call it. And they've actually told me, if you ever cut your hair short, I would cry. That's your thing. And I'm like, but I can't have the same thing for 4 years of modeling. I've been doing this for 4 years now, and I've had the same.
yeah, bounce.
And bringing up Linda Evangelista, I was talking to a photographer last year, I believe. Yeah, it was last September, and he was saying that I should cut my hair like Linda Evangelista did. It was like super
Pixie.
short, and I'm like, I've actually wanted to do that for a while, but I'm scared that what's going to happen is photographers are going to abandon me because I cut off my hair. Because, I kind of need the photographers to get the pictures to keep moving forward, but I can't move forward without changing my look sometime because I can't be put in that box with my hair. So that's kind of an area that I've been struggling in because it's like I want to make this big change, but will everyone leave me because I didn't conform to their beauty standard for me? So that's something I'm kind of worried about, but at the same time, it's like they're not paying for all my shampoo and conditioner and leave-ins and other potions that I put in my hair. That gets expensive after a while with this long hair. I'm like, it goes down to my butt. That's how long my hair is. That takes a lot of product.
And back in the day, it wasn't easy. A lot of models had to bring their own hair products and their own makeup and things backstage to shows because the makeup for us as women of color, we didn't have makeup to suit our hues. We're so dynamic and rich with hues. Check in with reputable agencies. They have the pulse of industry trends. I love that, Billy Montgomery. I love that. And I was just about to say, fake it till you make it, girl. I know that all too well. This is not my real hair, y'all, but it looks like she's mine, but I'm just wearing her for a couple hours. But I know that all too well about having to cut your hair because I did a movie back in 2021. I did a horror film. And the director, shout outs to Alex Jonte, I got the role on my birthday, and he says, "There's one thing though. I want you to cut your hair. I want you to have short hair." And I went in and I got a pixie cut and nailed it. So just fake it till you make it. Some models wear wigs during photo shoots. So change it up, experiment with it a little bit. That would be my advice. And like Billy says, check in with reputable agencies because beauty trends do not stay the same. They're always changing. Like the makeup is now soft glam. A lot of the trends that were back done in the 90s, like the monochromatic makeup, which is kind of similar to what I'm wearing today, Sydney's look. These beauty trends are coming back. The bleached eyebrows. I know a lot of couture fashion designers, like Marc Jacobs for one, did the bleached eyebrows. I think it was Lady Gaga walked in his show, and she had the bleached blonde eyebrows. So beauty trends do not stay the same. They're always changing. So when it comes to transformation, I can relate, sweetie. I definitely can. I know it all too well. And Quiet Rainstorm, if he's here, he can attest to that. He knows that I do not stay the same. Everybody knows that about me, is that when it comes to beauty, I think you should just change it if it's your hair. Because I know sometimes doing the big chop can be scary. Cutting your hair can be a scary thing. And I tell women this all the time. Um, Try a wig first and see if you like it. And if you don't, because I know my mom, I've gotten her into wearing wigs. She'll see a long one on me, like this one is pretty long. She'll see a long one on me, and then she'll be like, I want some long hair. But she rocks a pixie cut now. So now she misses the long hair. And I'm like, okay, mother. So but experiment with it. Have fun. That's my advice to you is just have fun with it. But you're doing an awesome job. You're on the right track, grounded, and that would be my advice. Continue to stay grounded, and I'll continue to keep networking you with amazing models like Cara and so many others. So yeah, that would be my advice. And Billy Montgomery Photography absolutely is right. Check in with reputable agencies because just like fashion trends, beauty trends do not stay the same. They're always changing. I know one supermodel, Cara Delevingne, is known for her brows. So what is it gonna be next? Naomi Campbell, her lips, no, and her legs. She's known for that long hair down her back. So every supermodel has started a beauty trend. Cindy Crawford, what she's known for her beauty mark. So I mean, it's so many things. So stay true to you, which you're doing an awesome job at, and spike, tell daddy, daddy, get me some wigs. Let me experiment. Let me play with it. That's
I
what you do. That's what I do. I know I'm always experimenting with different hair colors to see if I like this, if I like that. And I've been that way because I went to beauty school and every day we would have open lab. The girls would be in there coloring their hair, highlighting their hair, putting streaks in, and so many other things. So I would say experiment, try it, get some wigs and try it. Hey, K2s.
I do experiment a lot with my hair. I have a good collection of wigs. I have afros and everything, but the problem is that a lot of times photographers won't let me, and I've sort of taken that into my own hands here recently with starting to learn self photography so I can just take some of the pictures myself that they won't do. I have a collection of wigs, the blondes, pinks, reds, and all that, but it's a case of what people will and won't let me do with
Yeah.
their photo shoots. And it's hard, and I try and check in with agencies, but a big problem for me is that people see what my location is, and that I'm in Vegas, and they're like, "Oh no, no, thank you," because Vegas models have such a bad reputation that they see the word Vegas and it's basically just denied right on my forehead.
That you never know where your blessing lies, Sydney. You're a beautiful girl, and it is so much more for you in the horizons out here. So I'm happy to be honored to be interviewing you. You're one of the youngest guests that I've had on, one of the young girls, and I feel pretty honored because you're like the Dave Letterman or something. Because I'm getting her while she's young in the industry, and she's going to blow up and take over the fashion world. I can feel it. So I'm honored to have pointed you in the direction of Cara Young. Yeah. There's my brother K Tukes, and you got so many photographers that are watching this live and willing and waiting to work with you. So it's so much to come. You just stay grounded, stay where you're at, and stay focused. And it's so much to come in the future. So anything you need, you just reach out to me or reach out to Cara. Cara can help you. Angela Renee, shout outs to her. She's in the entertainment biz, definitely amazed as well too. So, you never know because models get discovered in some of the most craziest places. Like I think Carl Young got discovered, not Carl Young, Kate Moss got discovered in a grocery store, if I'm not mistaken. So they get discovered everywhere. You never know. And thing about transformation with some of the photographers out here. Um, when it comes to beauty, if it goes along with the aesthetic of the scenery that they're going with, they'll be like, okay, maybe we want her with curly hair. No, maybe we want her with straight hair. Maybe we want her with her hair braided up like a queen looking royal or something. So there's always something, that they want you to kind of just change up a little bit for the photo shoot. So with different photo shoots, I get it, it's different elements and scenes. Maybe they want a soft romantic curl. Maybe they want something that is shorter. So they're always changing. And shout outs to my brother K Tukes. Make sure you guys go and subscribe to his channel, the K Tukes Spot. I will be doing an interview tomorrow with him. And definitely come back tomorrow, Sydney, because we have a fashion designer that is going to be here. Shout outs to Trevor Lawson, and he's designed some gorgeous gowns, gorgeous gowns. He's done a lot for the prom season. I know prom season has officially hit and, came and went, but he's designed some gorgeous gowns. So Trevor Lawson will be with us tomorrow. Endless class. He does so much with the fashion and beauty industries. Definitely put you in touch with him as well, also. But yeah, that would be my advice to you: is stay grounded. And see so many photographers, and they're all coming to see you. And that leads me to the next part of my question: is who would be your dream photographer that you would like to work with? Because there's so many out here that work in the fashion world.
Oh, photographers. Um, ooh, there's a
It's
good
tough.
amount.
I mean, you've got Patrick DeMarchelier, God rest his soul. He shot for Vogue magazine. You've got Inez Minuta. You've got Jill Ben Simone, who's done America's Next Top Model and so many other fashion magazines.
Uh, I just want to shoot with everyone. That's what
It's
I
it's a
want.
lot. It's a lot, and their photography is beautiful.
Because everyone's style is so different, and that's what I love. And that's why I want to be shot by all these different photographers. Because no one's image looks the same. I could probably be shot by all the top photographers. They could all be taking the picture at the same time, same pose. It'll look different because everyone's eye is different,
Yeah.
and that's what so amazing. That's why I'm like, I can't choose one because everyone's style is so amazing.
And then there's Matthew Ralston. Of course, he shot videos, music videos for Madonna. He did In Vogue. He did. TLC, and he also did some of the Revlon campaigns. Cara shot with him. Um, yeah. Um, Even though he did makeup, he was a makeup artist. He was another one that liked to bring his vision to life, and that's Kevin O'Quan. Kevin O'Quan has shot with Linda Evangelista, Cindy Crawford, some of the most beautiful women in the world. He did Janet Jackson, he did Tina Turner, Diana Ross. He's shot some of the world's most beautiful women. Definitely check out some of Kevin's books when you get a moment, because he was one that liked to bring his image to life. Like he would literally, he took Drew Barrymore and turned her into, what's that actress name? What is that actress name? It'll come back to me. It slipped my mind. But she was an actress that was very, very, like in the early, late 40s, mid 50s. Um, I cannot remember her name. I think it was Joan Crawford. He took Drew Barrymore and he turned her into Joan Crawford. So Kevin O'Quan is another one that likes to bring his image to life. So yeah, bless his soul. It's so many makeup artists, photographers out here that that love to bring their image to life, that make the model look beautiful, and they're just like, okay, we want this model to come to light in this, and Kevin was one of them. So definitely. All right, yes. And who, if there are there any supermodels that you look up to that you admire that you would like to work with in the future?
I feel like one that goes without saying is Tyra. Of course, I want to work with Tyra. I've basically learned how to model with watching every single season of America's Next Top Model. So, I want to work with her. I want to work with Coco Rocha in person. I did
Love.
online modeling class last year, and it was such an amazing experience. She's so nice, so sweet. I don't know how she dealt with us because there was like 40 plus people in this group call, and I know some of them are doing some crazy stuff, probably that you couldn't see. But that was just amazing. And then true inspiration to me. I want to work with her. Some don't call her a supermodel, but I want to work with Zendaya.
Oh, yeah,
I,
she is like, I guess you could say that. Yeah, I could see that. She's big. Zendaya's big in the fashion world, and she's contracted with Lancome Cosmetics, and they even gave her own mascara to her likeness and everything. So she would fall up under the category of actress, model, and then she did cover girl as well. So yeah.
I want to be to little girls that are aspiring to be models and stuff what Zendaya was to me as a kid, because at the time I was in dance classes and there was no one like me on TV. And I'm watching Disney Channel one day, and all of a sudden there's someone that looks like me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and I'm still just kind of like, oh. So
And look at her now. She is the designer's dream. It's like, and you said vintage. You and her would definitely get along well, because shout outs to her stylist, La Roche, if he ever watches this, because he's one that loves to dig into the capsules of like Dior and John Paul Gaultier and Lanvin and so many of these big fashion houses. And he goes to the archives, and the next thing you know, you see Zendaya, who's literally like a live mannequin wearing the designs. She brings it to life.
and that's just incredible to me that they are willing to go back, because so many designer stylists and people aren't willing to go back into older
Yeah.
designs. And the fact that they're willing to do this and do this very frequently is just incredible. Because you forget about those old designs, then you bring them back, and it's just like, whoa, I forgot that they had this design in the 90s, and it was just so iconic. How do we forget about it?
And another supermodel, Heidi Klum, did it as well too. For I think it was one of the episodes of America's Got Talent. She was hosting that, and she went and she brought back She was doing a photo shoot with some of the hosts. And we all know the iconic motorcycle dress that Terry Mugler designed. You saw her in that. So it's just like they're bringing back Kim Kardashian's another one. They're going back in time in these capsules because I've seen how they keep these designs in like a museum and the fashion museums and things, and they have the curators go in with the gloves and everything and have to open it and make sure that the design fits the model very very well. So it's yeah. If you I love vintage too myself, as you can see from my Instagram here. I love vintage fashion. So I can go back to the late 80s, the early 90s. So my last question for you is, and then we're gonna conclude this great conversation, Fashion Dolls. It's coming to an end. Uh, what is your favorite era of fashion? Because it's so many. If you could go back in
Oh,
time, what would be your favorite fashion era?
my favorite fashion era. Ooh, 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 ooh. See, there's so many elements from different eras that I love, but one, oh, the 1800s pieces with the corsets and the bustles and all the layers. It's just so elegant to me. That's something I love. I'm trying to actually get pieces together to be able to do stuff like that. The old Victorian outfits. That's just incredible to me. So that's something I would like to bring back and have now too. But I feel like people don't want that because they don't want to be walking around in corsets. The corsets are actually very comfortable. So
The Met Gala, the theme was golden. I can't remember what it was. It was golden something. It was something. Gilded glamour. Gilded glamour. That was the theme. And they kind of had to go back to the like golden era a little bit. And the dresses that the women used to wear, the waists were very, very tiny. And like the back of the dress, the train would be so heavy. And we've seen how people would have to maneuver around and help the models and the stars on the red carpet with their gowns and things because the train would be so long. So me and you kind of have that in common. We love the golden era, was what I like to call it, the golden era. And I also love the era of grunge fashion, which would have been like the early 90s. If you think John Paul Gaultier, a little bit of Chanel with the tweed, that would have to be another one of my favorites.
I agree with you completely. The grunge era was it was so cool because, every era is a rebellion of the last fashion sense. So seeing the grunge look to contract to be the opposite of what just happened, it was fantastic. That's definitely something that needs to come back a little bit more than it has been.
And it's like fashion repeats itself. Like some of the stuff you would be like, well, wait, I just seen this back then and it's coming back now. So a lot of these designs that the designers are doing then that did then, they're now coming back. So history definitely repeats itself 100%.
Yes, it does because I've seen a lot of people bringing back the early 2000s kind of Y2K
Yes.
fashion. Oh, and I'm like, okay, I need to hop on that train. Let me go to the thrift store real quick.
I do too. I love vintage splurging, so I know about it all too well. All too well. All right, Fashion Dolls, we are now at the end of our interview here with the beautiful Miss Sydney Webb. It was such a pleasure having you here and being able to introduce you in the dollhouse to some big people in the fashion world. It was such a pleasure having you here. And I definitely would love to have you back sometime around Fashion Week, if that's possible. So you let me know. Reach out to me and let me know. Whatever works for you.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. It was absolutely amazing. I enjoyed this so much. Such an amazing experience. I'm so excited I'm a part of the dollhouse now. And yeah, thank you.
You are so welcome, my love. Joining me tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we have, since we're in the week of fashion and we're talking about beauty, Trevor Lawson joins me tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you guys tune in at 6 p.m. I will be on my brother, the K2 Spot Talk Show, for my exclusive interview with my brother. So make sure you guys tune in for that. I love you all, and definitely keep in touch with me and let me know whatever works for you. Take care, my love.